Welcome back. Yes, I'm the Roger Stone that Owen was talking about, and you may have seen my name in the largely fake news over the last couple of days. I'm grateful to have an interlocutor like Owen to help me break this myth down for you. We don't know that any of that headline is, of course, true. But here's what we do know, and that is what was first reported in the Washington Post as a joke, and was a joke that was milked in an email to Sam Nunberg about being in London and dining with Julian Assange, which began as a punchline to try to get him off the phone. When I can prove indisputably that I was in California on the dates in question. In fact, on August 1st, I flew with my godson, Carter Davis Stone, an infant, from New York to Los Angeles. I returned to Miami. I live in an undisclosed location in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on the 3rd. So I know where I dined. I know I was with. I filmed a video during this period. The cast and crew are quite findable. This is a regurgitation of the same old spasm about Russian collusion. Look, I understand that I'm the conservatives liberals love to hate. Second only perhaps to Alex Jones, because he's a trailblazer. And you see the spate of phony lawsuits filed against him and InfoWars today by a Miami man connected to Parkland. These kind of specious lawfare lawsuits, Owen, are the new thing on the left. It's kind of like Project Democracy, the group that sues me and the president's campaign in federal court, claiming that we worked with the Russians to hack the DNC's emails and give them to WikiLeaks for publication, as unprovable in court as it is in the court of public opinion. But you wouldn't know that if you read Salon and Slate and the Daily Beast and other lesser fake news sites whose names are too vile to mention. But that being what it may, there's no there. I can state equivocally, politics is a game of smoke and mirrors. I have millions of emails, and they're a cornucopia of political maneuver and perhaps even head fakes. In this case, a practical joke on a hapless dope who is stupid enough to believe that you could get out of the country and come back in undetected. So my passport, customs records, airline records, and presumably the security cameras around the Ecuadorian embassy, where dozens of nations are watching this captive journalist, would show that I didn't meet with Assange. In fact, I didn't leave the country at all. The Daily Caller recently published an examination of my airline tickets out and back, my detailed credit card records that shows that, yes, I ate at Izzy's, a delicatessen on Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood. The corned beef is unbelievable. But other than that, it is indisputable that I was in Southern California. It is the day after this that I allegedly tell Sam Nunberg that I dined with Assange. Some people can't take a joke. Apparently, Sam Nunberg is one of them.
Well, Roger, here's what my analysis would be of all of the fake news outlets reporting on your alleged dining experience with Julian Assange. They obviously never saw the documentary Get Me, Roger Stone, because they clearly have no idea how you operate, Roger.
Look, this comes at a time, as you know, Owen, that I've been working very hard to button up my new book, Stone's Rules, which is essentially my operating manual for life. It's well beyond politics. It has advice for style and food and film and how to clean your patent leather formal pumps and all kinds of arcane information that the up and rising person in business or politics or media should read. For me, there was a great book called Confessions of an Advertising Man by David Ogilvy. Ogilvy was a British advertising genius who understood messaging and how to present stark graphics and the use of headlines. In those days, they were applied for magazines and newspapers and television and radio, copy, of course. Today, those same lessons are applicable in your use of communications on the internet. So it's that kind of operating manual that I'm seeking to wrap up. It's called Stone's Rules. I know you will enjoy it, Owen. There's you don't need a lot of fashion tips, but there's a few in here that might be useful to you. By the way, an outstanding cravat today, outstanding. Yesterday, I don't know, the pig tie kind of looked like the wallpaper in a New Orleans cat house. I'm not sure I liked, but it was a good attempt. But today, you're knocking that out. Hold on a second.
Can we get some B-roll of the tie? Roger, it was an Easter tie. It was blossoms and flowers blooming, like the resurrection coming to life again. It was my Easter tie, Roger.
It had the look of the flocked wallpaper in a bordello in New Orleans. But other than
I
that,
happen to like New Orleans.
I love New Orleans, but today's tie is Trump. Today's tie is Trumpian.
Well, thank you, Roger. And I am looking forward to your book. But it was just funny because when I was watching the news today, and obviously this was a fake news story that you addressed last week. I mean, you were already ahead of this deal, but here they are again coming out. I don't know. It's like weird. It's like somebody just sends this to them and says, hey, cover this. And they don't even realize that you already addressed this last week.
Well, look, I go out last night with a group of friends. I'm in a cigar bar, and people who either know me or know of me, and there's more of the latter, are coming up and saying things like, so we love you. Are you all right? Of course I'm all right. This is politics. And this is a wild goose chase. Ted Malloch didn't interface with WikiLeaks or Julian Assange and pass anything. I certainly didn't dine with Julian Assange, and I say it unequivocally again. I never had any advance notice of the source, content, or exact timing of the WikiLeaks disclosures, and I never received anything, including allegedly hacked emails. That's for the boys at the Washington Post who like to nitpick what I say, from Julian Assange or WikiLeaks or anyone else, and passed it on to Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump's public claim that the Russians should supply the emails does not even refer to the WikiLeaks emails, a point the Wall Street Journal seems to have missed. It refers to missing emails that Assange never has and never publishes. So it's almost like going to war with Iraq because of their role in 9/11. It doesn't even make sense. But that is the political narrative of the left. They are so desperate to snare Trump in this net. See, it's not about Roger Stone. It's not about WikiLeaks. It's Trump got these emails, and then he said publicly, Russia, if you've got these, it doesn't even make sense. And it's inaccurate, but that's how the left rolls.
Well, Roger, I hate to tell you this, but I can now report that you actually did indeed dine with Julian Assange. Roger Stone did dine with Julian Assange. It was the same night that I was frolicking in the fields of dandelions with Peter Cottontail and the Easter Bunny. So the same night I was frolicking with the Easter Bunny, Roger Stone was dining with Julian Assange. We got it right here. We broke it on the War Room at Infowars.com/show. Of course, that's a joke, but they'll take that one seriously, too. We've got an update on the Vegas shooting on the other side, as well as more with Roger Stone. Don't go anywhere. We've got an active shooting situation right now at a YouTube headquarters in San Bruno, California. We now go to our reporter, Harrison Smith, for an update. Harrison, what do you got for us?
Well, the details are still coming in, and they're still quite fuzzy, but I do think I have a couple things to report. The city manager of San Bruno says that the situation is relatively secure and that the perimeter is secure. It's believed to only be one shooter. They do not have They're not looking for a second shooter at this point, and they're saying that from the way that the police are acting, it seems as though the shooter has been incapacitated. There was a group of SWAT team showed up and went inside, about 15 of them, and they haven't come out yet, which means they're probably moving room to room, clearing out, making sure there's not another person left behind still doing anything. There were, again, reports of maybe a negotiator with the SWAT team moving in, which would point to the rumors that we heard about there being a hostage situation, but that's totally unconfirmed. That's more just eyewitness speculation. It is being reported as a white adult female wearing a dark top and a headscarf. Somebody was saying that maybe it started with her shooting her boyfriend. Again, this is rumors. One eyewitness was at a restaurant, a Carl's Jr. across the street, and heard gunshots and went over there. He says that it was in a courtyard. In YouTube, he saw 2 women get shot. The first one who got shot was shot once. However, the second one was shot multiple times. He says at least 10 times a single person was shot, leading me to think that maybe this was targeted at a single specific person if the shooter is spitting that many bullets on a single person.
Well, it's interesting to me that if this is a case of essentially of a romantic deal of a woman trying to shoot her boyfriend, how you have so many people end up in the hospital. I guess people tried to stop it and she just shot them too. Again, we don't have all the details here. I guess I'm just trying to figure it out. What about reports of this happening at a party that was at YouTube? What do you know about that?
Yeah, that was the same eyewitness from the Carl's Jr. He said that it was essentially like a little party, a little luncheon happening at the courtyard of YouTube. And there are some aerial shots where you see they had tables set out and chairs, and they're all knocked over as people fled the scene. So yeah, it seemed like it was just the beginning of a sort of luncheon party of some sort. And they said that this same eyewitness said that the person was inside, and I'm not sure if he meant inside just sort of the compound there, inside the campus, or inside the actual building, but he said he didn't see the person walk onto the campus from off-site, but was already in there, you know, when the shooting started.
Interesting. And we know that they'll find any possible way they can spin this to blame the guns. So we'll just try to maintain reporting on facts so that they can't spin things and blame the guns. Harrison Smith, thank you so much for your updates. We'll be sure to hear from him again before we sign off here at 6 o'clock local. Of course, it's 4:23 here local in Austin, Texas, 2:23 local in San Bruno, California, where this happened at a YouTube headquarters. So we'll maintain keeping our fingers on the pulse of this story, and we'll bring you whatever details we can as it develops. Now, getting back to my guest, Roger Stone. Roger, Robert Mueller is pretty much an unleashed dog. He's pretty much, I decided to nickname him Robert Broaden Mueller because he's always broadening his search. And what that means, of course, as you understand, Roger, is that he can't find anything in the areas where he's looking for collusion. So he just decides to go anywhere and look at anyone. I mean, who knows? He could be going through my emails right now. He might be back at my house investigating me with a SWAT team. So he has no bounds. When is this going to be shut down, Roger? I mean, this is honestly getting way out of hand.
If we did not have this enormous body of evidence of the political nature and the animus and the disregard for law and the leaking and the cheating in his investigation, which is on a partisan basis, then perhaps we could believe that he's an honest prosecutor just trying to find out if there is a crime. Unfortunately, I think his mission is nothing short of the takedown of the President of the United States, to reverse what they could not do at the ballot box in 2016 and get rid of this upstart who speaks for the silent majority of these unsophisticated boobs who don't realize that we, the Bushes and the Clintons and our wealthy friends, have run things for the last 30 years, and we're going to continue to run things. I mean, they had this wired, Jeb versus Hillary. Heads I win, tails you lose. It almost doesn't matter, because in this case, the globalist one world neocon policy of war, erosion of our civil liberties, squandering of our wealth, stupid trade deals, outrageous tax rates would just continue to drive the country into the gutter. And along comes the usurper, this guy from New York. They try to laugh him off because he's been in an enormously successful reality TV show. And he's well known to the American people, having been on the public scene with an enormous flair for self-promotion for 30 years. And his brand is up there as one of the most iconic American brands in American history. The brand is the largest portion of his wealth in terms of its franchisability and licensability and so on. And he takes on this party establishment. Mr. Mueller has a record as a bipartisan executioner for those in power. It's also Mr. Mueller who took the uranium samples to the Soviet Union for inspection surrounding the sale of uranium-1. It is extraordinary that the exact gang of criminals and other conspirators who are tormenting this president are up to their knees in uranium-1, including Mr. Rosenstein, Mr. Comey, and Mr. McCabe. They're trying to rewrite history to make McCabe some kind of a whistleblower, some kind of a Boy Scout, when in fact he is one of the chief conspirators in the politicization of this entire investigation. It is in Andy's office that Strzok and his girlfriend plot their insurance policy, which is essentially planted evidence just in case Trump wins. How much more do we need to see? The problem here remains Jeff Sessions. Until Donald Trump gets an honest Justice Department, he's going to lose this political fight. Jeff Sessions needs to go, but first Rod Rosenstein needs to go. I'm not satisfied with the prosecutor in Utah. I'm glad to see him start. I wonder what his budget is. I wonder how the department's going to hamstring him, how many people will be working for him, and what is his authority to go into any area like Mr. Mueller, or is he narrowly have to look only at the FISA warrants? And even then, is it just the FISA warrant of, say, Carter Page, but not the FISA warrants of Roger Stone or Paul Manafort? No, I think we need to know all about this, and shortly, I hope we will. Obviously, our prayers and thoughts to those in today's horrific shooting. This could be some woman wildly spraying who has no experience with firearms control, spraying a crowd in an effort to kill her boyfriend. But it may be something else entirely. Let's not jump to any conclusions until we get far more news. We'll be right back at the War Room. Welcome back. You're at Freedom Command Central. That's right, it's the War Room. Once again, if you've been paying close attention, today I am a man of many hats. It's a beautiful day here in South Florida, really sunny and fine, and a proper straw chapeau is something every gentleman should have. In each segment tonight, I've worn a different piece of craftsmanship because all of these, of course, were made by hand by most likely peasants in places like Ecuador and Bolivia and other places where this fine headgear was originally made. This particular hat is probably not something you'd wear every day. This is called the Cab Calloway. Cab Calloway was an extraordinary musical star, was the leader of an orchestra, and African-American, although very light-complected, and the first man to be in a talking picture. And this was the great hat that he wore. He was known for his high style. We might even go on WikiLeaks here and pardon me, we go on Wikipedia and grab a picture of Cab Calloway sometime. In any event, I'm glad to be back with you, Owen. We were talking about this extraordinary lynch mob of hysterical, drooling, bloodthirsty hacks in the fake news corps who constantly take stories that are thin to begin with, put their own little twist on them, and pass them down the fake news, poop line in terms of the media coverage. Now, I appreciate the fact that this high name ID hopefully will help sell copies of my book, Stone's Rules. You can go to Amazon, you can go to Barnes & Noble and pre-order it now, but you'll get a special price if you buy it at the InfoWars store or at the Stone Cold Truth. This is a very important part of financing my legal defense against these jackals because I have to keep writing and selling books. This book will help you discern everything, how to punk liberals, how to play the media, how to make a great Sunday gravy, that's marinara sauce to some of you, exactly how much linen to show at the cuff, what's an appropriate brand of true Indian madras. These are all things that a person ought to know, and you can learn them in Stone's Rules, out from Skyhorse, and a great labor of love. There you go. I'm very proud to have an introduction by my friend Tucker Carlson, who is, in my view, a truly, truly great American.
And of course, that book will be made available at InfoWarsStore.com, which is where you can always support us. And this is what makes everything possible, folks. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but we have essentially, I would say, about 30 people that run the media operations here day to day. The Real News with David Knight in the morning, the Alex Jones Show, of course, and then here with the War Room. And those 30 people pretty much do the work of about 90 people at any other news outlet. So we need to hire more people. We're working on that, and it's all possible with your support at InfoWarsStore.com. All right, we are now going live to the police press conference in San Bruno, California, with an update from the shooting at a YouTube headquarters.
This coming in, it's obviously a very fluid situation, and we're doing the best we can to keep everybody up to date. So at 12:46 p.m. this afternoon, San Bruno Police Department received numerous 911 calls regarding gunshots at the YouTube campus located on Cherry Avenue in our city. San Bruno Police arrived on scene at 12:48 and immediately began a search for a possible shooter or suspect. Upon arrival, officers encountered numerous employees fleeing from the building. It was very chaotic, as you can imagine. We did encounter one victim with an apparent gunshot wound towards the front of the business as we arrived. Several minutes later, while conducting a search of the premises, officers located a second individual with a gunshot wound that appears to may have been self-inflicted. We are still working on confirming that. Two additional victims were located several minutes later at an adjacent business. The extent of all of the injuries of our victims are unknown right now. They were all transported for emergency medical care, but they are all unknown. So if I missed that, we have 4 victims who have all been transported for gunshot-related injuries, and we have one subject who is deceased inside the building with a self-inflicted wound that at this time we believe to be the shooter, but we're still following up on that. Multiple law enforcement agencies have responded to assist. We're very grateful for everyone's help and assistance, but we could not have responded and accomplished this without everybody's help. This is an active event and an active investigation, and numerous law enforcement personnel from numerous different local agencies are still conducting a search of the business just to make sure that that it is clear. We conducted a quick, immediate search of the premises when the first officers arrived as pursuant to our active shooter protocol. And after that search was concluded, now we're going through with a methodical, slow search just to make sure that we cover all the bases. That's all I have for you at this time. We hope to have something a little later. I cannot give you, I cannot give you the time of the next press update, but we'll put that out as soon as we have that information. I'm sorry?
All right, that's Ed Barberini from the San Bruno police chief there, taking questions now from the media. You know, I'm not trying to be the immediate cynic or skeptic here of this situation. I just don't understand. I mean, YouTube has cameras all over their facility, I'm sure. So how can they say they don't know what happened? I mean, they should have cameras everywhere, I would assume. Is he still talking, guys?
and gain some information from witnesses at the scene. So you can imagine it's a monumental task with the number of employees that work inside the building. Chief, can you tell us about what weapon?
All right, so these are just questions here as they begin whatever investigation they need to begin, as really the media just doesn't have any answers. So we'll get more updates from that as it develops. In the meantime, though, again, folks, please support us at InfoWarsStore.com. I cannot tell you how tough it is, because, and we don't complain about it, but I'm telling you, everything that we do here, everything that you see, everything that you hear, from the ads on the InfoWars Store website, to the website, the stories, to the graphics we make, the ads we put together, all the shows that we do here live, our expanded coverage from live events, all of that is done with about 30 people, okay? At any other news organization, that would take 90 people to put out what we do here at InfoWars. That's why we need your support at InfoWarsStore.com. We are hiring more crew so that we can be more efficient here and not stretch ourselves so thin. So thank you for your support at InfoWarsStore.com. Last chance at some of these great specials. 50% off Alexa Pure Breeze air filter, great special. 50% off the Mind and Body Challenge Pack. 50% off Brain Force Plus. Your last chance on all of those specials. Roger, you've got a guest coming up next segment. Tell us what to expect coming up.
Well, Milo is going to join us. That's because, ironically, on the very day that I was allegedly meeting with Julian Assange, I was doing a telephone hookup from Los Angeles for Milo's incredible show. He remembers it well, and he's going to put his 2 cents into this fake news avalanche that is slamming yours truly. So we look forward to always having Milo on InfoWars, because he is a raconteur, a boulevardier, a man of discerning tastes and pungent political opinions. We look forward to him joining us.
And that will be on the other side. Not to mention, I've still got a big announcement that I'm going to make here. I've got it sitting in my pocket. It will be revealed before the end of the broadcast. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're at Freedom Command Central. Yes, it's the War Room with your co-hosts, Roger Stone and Owen Schroyer. I'm joining you from sunny South Florida, while Owen is in the bunker in an undisclosed location near Austin, Texas, with a hardy band of info warriors that constitute our crew, staff, and the people who work so very hard to bring you the truth every single day. We are like a family. We almost all take the InfoWars products. Why? Well, because they are the very best, and we believe in maximum health. We believe in maximum fitness. We believe in feeling in top shape while we're fighting for our liberty. We have some unbelievable specials right now at the InfoWars store, including the whole Super Blue series of products. Now, I have not yet tried the Silver Immune Gargle, because I am an enormous aficionado of the Silver Bullet formula. And everyone in my family now using Silver Bullet, which is literally the very best colloidal silver you can find on the marketplace today. And the ancient health attributes of silver are well known, particularly in modest dosages. So I recommend that. But I love the entire Silver Blue oral family of products. The Immune Gargle right now, 50% off, a silver-based product. I'm sure it is excellent. Continuing one of my all-time favorite combos, stacking the red pill for the body with Brain Formula Plus, Brain Force Plus, pardon me, our brain formula, which to me is the very best kind of mind-body balancing nutraceutical you can buy. It's at 50% off, a terrific price for both of these products. Normally $119, can be had now for $59.90. How does Alex Jones do this? Is he insane? He's giving this stuff away. No, actually, he understands that if you buy the product at a reduced price and you like it, he knows you'll be back for more. He knows you might even join our auto ship program. Now, for a guy with many things on his mind, fighting many battles against the libtards in their legions in the fake news as they try to silence Alex Jones and silence Roger Stone, you can have no better help than a bottle of Brain Force and a bottle of the red pill, regular exercise, a modest diet, and minimal intake of other toxins, avoiding excess, of course. It is key to get out and get some cardio in there too, and I'm still lifting. All these things, when combined with these terrific products, a healthy regimen, regular exercise, a balanced diet, and you will feel like $1 million. So I must tell you, Owen, that since I began taking the silver bullet formula, which I demonstrated is right here in my clutches, I have never felt better. This is really a terrific product, and you can get it at the Infowars.com store.
That's funny, Roger. I actually have my Super Blue Silver Immune Gargle here. I'll go ahead and do a few sprays of this. It freshens your breath, and with the colloidal silver and nascent iodine in there, it's great at building your immune system and fighting anything off. Of course, we have all these reports of superbugs and antibiotic-resistant bacteria. So you got to do everything you can to build your immune system. So I'm going to use this Immune Gargle while you bring your guest in.